Hey guys, welcome back to Choosing Recovery. I am Olivia.
I'm Scotty.
And today we have a great story from Barbie, so let's jump right into it.
Jump!
Zoom! What was your drug or drugs of choice if you had multiple?
It was heroin, meth, everything under the sun and moon.
Yeah.
So what age did you start using any substance?
Age 9.
Oh wow.
By the time I was age 10, 11, that was like my first coping mechanism.
Wow, yeah, absolutely.
Then I ran to the army to run away from alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not smart.
That didn't work out? You don't say.
It is literally the most social norm.
Alcohol, absolutely. It's like the most legal drug, I feel like.
It is.
So how long have you used for?
I used for 8 years until 4 years ago.
Okay.
I slipped on my mental health
Okay.
and I wasn't taking my meds. Somebody close to me tried raping me, and when that happened, I went completely manic and tried to kill myself. And in the past, when I tried committing suicide after the army many times, I sucked at it. I mean, it's a good thing to suck at. It's a good thing to kill yourself suck at.
Yeah.
But like, I tried drowning myself, I tried shooting myself, I tried so many different methods, and I never succeeded. So the only thing that I was able to think about was like, well, this fentanyl stuff is killing everybody. And fentanyl wasn't like out when I had gotten clean last time. And I was like, this sounds like a good idea. And I died. I did die the first time.
Wow.
And get Narcan because they didn't think that I needed Narcan. And then they found one of my underneath the seat, one of my old work IDs from, I used to work at abandoned treatment centers. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have gotten Narcan.
It's those tiny miracles that have saved us many times.
It's like I thought, like after I had a year sober last time, like I thought I was good. I didn't need anything because I was also on that helping others high.
Yeah.
For like 3 years, and when that came, like that wore off like about a year and a half before, and everybody close to me was like, you need to get back on meds, and I wouldn't listen. And God had a way of like showing me exactly what I needed to do. And like now I'm like, I'm crazy. I need my fucking meds.
Here I am.
I'm 14 days in. I'm like, no. This is what we gotta do. And like for the first time in my life, like I'm on a really good combination.
Good.
Good, that's awesome. I'm so glad you're here with us today to share all this.
And it's important for people to know that it's okay to be on the mental health medication.
Oh, who did your addiction affect?
It affected my children. It affected my whole family because it's a family disease.
Yeah.
And when I did relapse, the first words that my mom said to me were, "You should have stayed dead." And like I know that was like out of anger, and it's still like to this day I still haven't spoken to my mom. And just recently, like I told my aunt's a therapist, and I was like, I need you to mediate because like this, even though I know my side of the street was clean, when we do like our step 9, it just says like we're willing to make it like amends is more than just saying I'm sorry, making the amends for the fucked up shit we've done. It's also just trying to repair relationships, being willing to repair it. And like that's something I want to keep on my conscience to do. And when she did say that, it like set me free from like this certain thing of like seeking approval from her my whole life. Because I'm like an adult child of alcoholic too. My mom's a normie though, but my dad's an alcoholic. So it kind of, you know what I mean? Like it happened for a reason.
Absolutely. So what led you to get clean?
I lost custody of my baby at birth last time. Before like I had my other 2 kids, my kids couldn't keep me sober. They couldn't, and like just being forced on like court order because I had never like, despite being a badass in the military and then like life in the streets and living, multiple lives, like I had God's grace, like I'd never been arrested with any felonies or anything.
Wow.
That's never been court ordered to anything. And I thought like if I didn't do this because I was doing like a dependency drug court, which is something I've been doing for this last year too.
Oh, okay.
I thought like, oh my God, I have to do this. I didn't realize like it was like where they could just take away the rights to your kids if you don't do it.
Yeah.
But like I didn't even know that I wanted to stay sober. I was just like, because I was also so angry. I'm 5'1", but I think I'm 6'4".
I feel ya.
I'm so angry. And I remember sharing in these meetings and treatment and telling them, I'm just gonna get a year sober, get my kids back, and as soon as DCF is out of my life, I go, I'm gonna go back to using Xanax, because if not, I'm just gonna kill people. And like 6 months in, like 9 months into it, like I started working steps my 6 months. And I was miserable because I wasn't doing anything before that, just going to meetings. And I wanted to fucking kill myself. And I'm like, that's when I go manic. I have these few little small episodes of like mania, and then I go straight, like I was just talking about it with a friend last night, I go straight to suicide. Straight, and I act on it. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. And like I had no God, nothing, and I just, for the first time, I hit my knees and I was like, I gotta do something. I started working steps. By the time I had 9 months sober, like I was just so in love with recovery and so in love with the fact that I knew the only way that I was gonna live. Like I always had a heart somewhere in me, because I was so used to, especially with the military, I was so used to being strong for everybody else.
Yeah.
And I kind of like took that, and I was just like, okay, I could do this for other people.
How are you staying clean today?
I am staying clean through an unnamed 12-step fellowship, which I'll just say right now because this interview, just because we have traditions. I work AA diligently. Everybody knows. Everyone's like, "Oh, Barbie would know it." Paragraph 2, line 6.
Just, it's funny, one guy in my home group, he's always like, he's like, the only reason I learned the big book was because I wanted to prove you wrong. You know? He was like, my ego is always the worst part of me, you know?
There's even like the answer to the problems with mental health in there.
Yeah.
Even alcoholism, it's like,
if everybody worked a 12-step program, the world would be an amazing place.
Literally.
oh my God.
You know?
Lucky one.
Right? So what's your biggest accomplishment within your recovery?
That's a toughie. Honestly, I would have to say, just in general, being able to be my authentic self.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Like no matter, like, and just not caring what people say or what people think. Like being okay with Barbie, which is something Barbie was never okay with before. Even like those almost 4 years that I had, like I always would let myself be dimmed down because I didn't want to make others either feel bad or whatever it was. And this time I'm like, no, like if I have a light inside of me, like God wants me to emanate that light, because that's God's light. And like if I'm silly, which I'm completely a goofball, you know, total goofball, and like I have my moments, you know, and I get to be okay with it. Like I used to care up to the point where like I had to have my hair like the right way, like I had to be proper, and now I'm like,
here I am, yeah. Love it. Well, if you could say something to somebody that's still out there actively using drugs, what would you say to them?
Honestly, I would tell them, you know, at the end of the day, there's two kinds of addicts and alcoholics that, you know, that are in this world. There's those of us who carry the message, and there's those of us who are the message. And the fact that they're here right now means that they have purpose, and they have that chance to carry the message. Because like if I could sit there and I could do it, you know, like anybody can freaking do it. Like the things that I've been through, the life that I have lived, the things that I'll never share with anybody besides a sponsor. You know what I mean? I know that from the bottom, like we sit there, like we could fall down 7 times, but that just means we stand the faith. We're the most resilient people there is, you know. And I shared it in my TikTok earlier. Like we seem to think like we're gonna get clean, we're gonna get sober, everything's gonna fall right into place, everything's gonna be easy, and it's fucking nuts. You know, think, oh, we're gonna run away with all those stupid cliches, happy, joyous, and free. And like the truth is not every single fucking moment you're gonna be happy, and not every single moment you're gonna be joyous. But every single day that you don't use, you are going to be freaking free. You're going to be free from that bondage of addiction. You're going to be free from that bondage of self. Because I know my problem was self. And then towards the end last time, it was the fact that I took self out of selfless. And you have some sense of self to be able to be yourself and be that happy and joyous.
Right.
Yeah. Because, you know, there's a chance for everybody.
Absolutely.
Just what to do to get it.
Absolutely, that's incredible. If you could say something to a family member of someone that struggles with an addiction, what would you say to the family member?
Honestly, I would tell them not to love them to death, that it's okay to love them from a distance.
Yeah.
Because if they're extremely happy with you, they just need to know that they love you, because they're not going to hear it from you. It is a family disease. You struggle too. You know, I feel like all family members should go to some kind of form of therapy, whether it's Al-Anon, even ACA. And like at the end of the day, like they're not going to listen to their family. They're going to sit there and think that their family doesn't understand. You know, like in the big book, it says the message that reaches the alcoholic must carry death and weight. There's something powerful of the fact of a complete and total stranger sharing the same identification of feelings. And like in certain families, like they need to understand, like it's nothing against them. It's just the fact that it's a brain disease. It really is. Like there's a whole science to it. You know, with all the neurotransmitters that goes on in their brain, like they're like, think about it. Like if somebody, like what kind of, like there's like, it's not even mental illness. What would make a mother? Because even in nature, like bears, everything, they don't leave their young. But the second we put that into our bodies, all bets are off. And you know, like a lot of the family members, when they sit there, like they just don't understand. It's like you have your feelings and they have yours. You know, and it's just hard. You know, it doesn't mean that their feelings aren't valid, but they need to understand that in order for their loved ones to get better, that they have to see it just as if somebody who had cancer. You know, like there's no treatment. Like, you know, like addiction requires treatment. You're either going to treat it with drugs and alcohol, or you're going to treat it with God, the steps, and any kind of form of recovery. And family members need to see that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like with anybody that's struggling in addiction right now, honestly, I know there's a lot of people struggling out there right now. And I know there's a lot of people that are just sitting there and they're just thinking about like their circumstances. And the funny thing is, like most people, like what we don't realize at the time, we need help realizing, is that our circumstances are what makes us. Like those storms and everything that comes in our life, like all that pain, that's the touchstone for our spiritual growth. That's the growth that we need. If we're not growing, like God makes it really hard for you to stay somewhere you're not supposed to be.
Yeah.
Than it is. You know, and sometimes we fight it tooth and nail, and that's why we stay in so much pain.
Absolutely.
You know, and I'm guilty of it too, because I'm hard-headed. I'm an Aries, so
Oh,
I always think I'm right. Just ask anybody I've ever dated. I've been like, no, if I. But like one thing I try to do today is I just try to go with the current. I don't try to go against the current. If something's not working out, depending on what it is, and like I've passed it through like my sponsor and I passed it through my support network, like is if it's something that's worth it, I'm gonna keep fighting. So we gotta fight for the good things. But if it's something that's not right, I'm just gonna let it go. You know, like in order to just move on, sometimes the best thing for us is to let it go. It's like that you know, like that painting where there's ropes and you're holding on to the rope. And the longer that you hold it on, the more it keeps cutting it, as opposed to just let it go. You know, like you're gonna keep holding on to the pain when you could just let it go. You know, like the past isn't gonna define us. It can make us. Whether we want it to make it good or we want it to make it bad. You know, I choose to make it good today. And I feel like if anybody that has air in their lungs right now and they're not on a ventilator, they're walking on their own, and they're not in like any kind of assisted living. Like I have a friend that got into a motorcycle accident, and by God's grace, like he's walking, but his brain is like an 8-year-old, and it's going to be like a long road recovery. And if you don't have any of those freaking problems, you have a chance to do whatever it takes, no matter what the issue is. You know, no matter what your circumstances. Like even right now, where I've been fighting in court for the longest freaking time with the baby's dad, who's trying to drag me through the mud because he knows the judge and the state attorney love me because I'm in front of the same judge that I had 4 years ago, and that I've been in their courtroom at least once a month, supporting and sponsoring, advocating for other women.
Oh wow.
And he can, and I'm not going to let that fear control me. You could drag me through the mud. You can sit there and you can do whatever it is that you want to me, but at the end of the day, because I do have my faith and I do have the amazing people I have in my life, and I know I have purpose. I'm just gonna keep rising, and everybody can do the same. My name is Barbie Beck. Today, I'm just grateful for being in the moment.